Okay, we'll go ahead and start here. I want to thank everybody who took part of their Friday afternoon here to join us. There's great weather, and hopefully we won't go too long here and you can go enjoy this, or maybe get over the mountain and cheer the Panthers on to beat the Murphy Bulldogs. My name is John DeVille. I'm a member of the advisory board of Red4EdNC, representing the Far West. Before I get to the main portion of my remarks this afternoon, I'd like to thank some folks publicly that I've not had an opportunity to do so yet. And those thanks go to the teachers that are here today, the teachers that were with us last spring, my friends that are here today and with us last spring in the Macon County Association of Educators, the parents who were with us today and last spring, especially the folks in the Macon County Save Our Schools group, the members of the Macon County community. Especially like to put a shout out to my friends in Forward Franklin who have been so supportive of public education and are here today. I'd like to thank the members of the Macon County Board of Education, led by my good friend Chairman Jim Breelove, who's also here with us today, and Superintendent Dr. Chris Baldwin. All of us came together last spring to lobby and to lay out the consequences to the Macon County Commissioners of what would happen if there was a failure to fully fund our schools at current levels. Last spring we made our case. The Macon County Commissioners listened this past June, and they not only ensured that no additional cuts would have to be made to this school year, they secured the funds necessary to make our schools safer. And for all of that, I would like to say thank you on behalf of all of those who fought together last spring and all of us who are gathered here today. I'd like to specifically thank Chairman Jim Tate, Vice Chair Ronnie Beal, Commissioners Gary Shields, Paul Higdon, and Carl Gillespie, who voted unanimously. I think that's the first time in a long time there's been a 5-0 vote on a county budget, largely in part because they all felt that fully funding the schools was important to maintain current levels of staffing and support, and for the security and the safety of the students in Macon County schools. And now to the main reason that we're gathered here this afternoon. First of all, we had invited Senator Jim Davis and Representative Kevin Corbin today to be formally presented with the Declaration in Defense of North Carolina school children. Senator Davis graciously responded that he had pre-existing vacation plans, and so that's why he's not here today. Representative Corbin and I spoke last night. He offered his regrets. He was on his way last night to Raleigh to work on rewording some of the amendments, constitutional amendments, which are going to be on this fall's ballot. I'd like to read a brief passage from the Constitution of our great Tar Heel state. We're standing in front of the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. This passage is from the North Carolina Constitution. The General Assembly shall provide by taxation and otherwise for a general and uniform of free public schools, which shall be maintained in at least 9 months of every year, and wherein equal opportunities shall be provided for all students. End quote. The signers of the declaration that we are handing over today across the state make it plain that we believe that the educational opportunities are neither adequate nor equal for the children here in Macon County or across the state. We are gathered across the state. There are events like this today in Buncombe, Macon, Forsyth, Mecklenburg. There was already a huge event earlier today in Wake County. There is one happening right now in Wayne and also in Pitt County. We are united. Teachers, teacher assistants, administrators, cafeteria workers, custodians, bus drivers, and our children who collectively believe that our state must return to a place of public education excellence. It is our collective wish that our elected officials who have been gracious enough to honor us in the past, unable to be with us today, will return to their work next January with the firm resolve to return North Carolina public education back to a position of excellence. We teach, those of us who are still teachers and got some veteran teachers, retired teachers with us today, we teach because we believe in the power of public education to provide students with the opportunities that they deserve. We believe an excellent education lifts a child up, it lifts a community up, and ultimately lifts a state up. We have been witness to too much pushing in the direction of limiting opportunity rather than expanding it. And while we embrace the challenges that come with this job, Red4EdNC would like to make sure that our elected officials understand the current reality that we'll be returning to when the bell rings this coming Monday. We will be returning to classes that are overcrowded. At Franklin High School, we will have English classes of 35. Our classes are overcrowded and they lack nearly 7,500 teacher assistants, which were cut by the General Assembly during a recession that ended years ago. Our economy has rebounded in this state. The number of teacher assistants needs to rebound as well. We will be handing out supplies that we purchased ourselves because the budget for supplies and materials has been reduced by 55% since 2009-2010. Again, our economy has rebounded. Funding for supplies needs to rebound rather than relying on teachers, shopkeepers, cash-strapped parents to fill the gap. Just last night, Representative Corbin and I discussed this issue. He pointed out that he keeps hearing teachers say, quote, "We have no supplies." And he said that that statement distresses him because he knows that the General Assembly does in fact provide school supply money, but sometimes it doesn't find its way to the classroom because of issues at central offices. That's an issue that we don't have. That's a problem we don't have here in Macon County. While I told him that I appreciated his commitment to ensure those funds find their way directly to the classroom, I reminded Mr. Corbin last night that school supply monies are still half of what they were in 2008. He agreed with that statement and he committed to working on improving those funding levels. Across the state, we'll be returning to buildings that are badly in need of repair or replacement for reasons that are incomprehensible to us. The General Assembly, they've got 6 constitutional amendments on the ballot, but the General Assembly made the decision to not give the voters of the state of North Carolina the opportunity to decide on an up or down basis whether or not they would approve a school bond for $1.9 billion. Today, the General Assembly is spending its time to reword constitutional amendments, some of which are designed to strip the governor's office of its powers, one of which caps the tax rate and had a disastrous impact on public education in Kansas, and which forced the property taxes in Colorado to spike. We have a lot of folks here in Macon County who are land rich but cash poor, who are facing increased property taxes should that income tax amendment pass. If our economy is to continue to grow, if we are to produce a 21st century workforce and demonstrate respect for the tender souls in our charge, then we need classrooms in this state built in the 21st century rather than to continuously patch hot, cold, leaky, cramped, and crumbling classrooms from the mid-20th century. Many, if not most, students will be returning to classrooms without adequate, and in many cases, no textbooks. Textbook funding went from $67 a child in 2008 and dropped and stayed below $15 per child for years. It has limped back to $42, but there's no fix for the years where funding all but disappeared. We at Red4EdNC find that inexcusable and unacceptable. And it is our wish that the officials who were invited here today agree with us and find a resolve to fund the most basic essential tool for the teacher. So often without the textbook, the caring parent is unable to assist his or her child. We are short of textbooks in many classrooms here in Macon County. The only reason that we have textbooks at the high school is that we have digital textbooks which were provided by the Macon County Commissioners, even though they were not constitutionally obligated to do so. And we are appreciative of that fact, but we would like for the folks in Raleigh to step up to their constitutional duty. The children of North Carolina are owed over $730 million collected from civil penalties and fines. These monies are for desperately needed equipment. The North Carolina Supreme Court ruled in 2008 that the children were due this money and the equipment, but the court lacked the power to compel payment. Less than 4 weeks ago, the North Carolina School Board Association once again filed suit to compel delivery of those funds. The funds that our children are due. Macon County students alone are owed over $2 million of that money, which is currently sitting in Raleigh. I will close with this. This past May, close to 30,000 teachers from every corner of the state marched in Raleigh to demonstrate their massive level of discontent with the General Assembly's lack of full commitment to our public school children. On July 4th, Red4EdNC issued its declaration in defense of North Carolina's public school children. This declaration, which was signed by teachers from all 100 North Carolina counties, details the grievances we have with the state leaders who have put our public education system in this current situation. More importantly, this declaration provides clear solutions on how to move forward, a restorative vision for how our state can begin to halt the downward spiral of the past 8 years and provide our students and teachers with the resources that they need to be successful. This year you can expect teachers from all 100 counties to fight hard for those rights and to continue our tireless efforts towards creating the type of public education system that our children deserve. I'm now happy to take any questions from the press, and I'm here to distribute copies of the declaration to them. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Are there any questions?
Do you have any stories that you would like to share specifically about Macon County and why you feel like it's so important for Macon County to be a part of this effort?
Kate McMahon, step up here. Tell us about the science department, what used to be at the science department at Franklin High School and what it is today.
I graduated 15 years ago, and we had more science electives than we do today. We're actually down 8 science electives. So my students today, even though they're bright and brilliant and can do wonderful things, don't have the same opportunities I did 15 years ago.
We lost military history, we lost philosophy, we lost drama, we lost theater. We have, if you talk to any English teacher, you cannot teach an English class with any degree of professionalism with 35 students in a class. For the simple fact, one is you can't maintain any type of rapport with 35 of anything. But if you are going to try to teach writing, which is incredibly labor intensive, if you've got 35 times 3, that's over 100 essays to grade on, every week. You have absolutely no life. You're working 20, 30 hours a week for unpaid overtime. That's at the high school level. Any elementary teacher who would like to speak to that question? I have a school counselor who would like to speak. Did you have your hand up there?
Well, I'll be brief, which is hard for me. Okay. I just want to say that at South Macon Elementary School, Dan and I both work there. We have amazing faculty members and staff members. We have amazing parents. And we work hard. I work myself many hours, which Dan can attest to, overtime to try to meet the needs. I can speak specifically to the counseling department, which I feel like we're on the same page in Macon County. We know we need more mental health personnel, but we lack the funding. And a lot of people will say, yes, mental health is important, but we need the funds to fund well-trained persons so we can actually address the problems in a timely manner and also do preventative mental health training. As for the rest of the teachers, they're amazing. They're just wonderful educators, and we need to support them with the amount of educators, the amount of classrooms, and the amount of supplies and textbooks that they need, which has not happened yet. Thank you.
Try to just imagine teaching. Thank you, Rena. Imagine teaching in a kindergarten class, first grade class, second grade class, third grade class without a full-time teacher assistant, and you layer on top of that the teaching burden that North Carolina teachers have, especially the third grade teacher. Probably the most abused, overworked, underappreciated teacher in our ranks across the state is the third grade teacher. And the fact that they don't have full-time assistants is criminal. The fact they've got to go out in a hallway and teach while they've got a custodian supervising the class, I think says it all. Any other questions? Mr. Coggins? Oh. Any other questions? Going once, going twice. All right, we are sold, and thank you all very much for coming. All
right, are we rolling this baby?
We'll roll her up.
Who would like to sign the declaration?
If you would like, yes, if you'd like to sign the declaration, those of you who are present, Mr. Waters was kind enough to bring a copy.
Are you aware? Are you aware?